What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I got some updates for you because it looks like the NFL has yet again rescheduled a couple games because of more COVID problems. Surprise, surprise. And man, I've been telling y'all this is only going to be able to go on for so long with the amount of injuries that they're having this year and the COVID COVID crisis continuing to spread throughout the NFL. I mean, it's just I've said it a million times. It's unimaginable that they're going to be able to play out a full season. But we'll see. I mean, they obviously don't care about people's lives, so that's not really a consideration for them at all. So they'll literally do, and as long as people keep fucking, being fooled into thinking that everything's all good and we can just keep going on as normal and so on and so forth, well, then people are gonna, keep allowing it to happen. They're gonna go to games, blah, blah, blah. So, it is what it is. There's been a late change to the NFL's Week 7 schedule. The Seattle Seahawks and Arizona Cardinals will now be NBC's Sunday Night Football game, while the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' trip to the Las Vegas Raiders has been moved to 4:05 p.m. Eastern on Fox. The move to take the Bucs and Raiders out of primetime was made because the entire Raiders offensive line was sent home on Wednesday after offensive tackle Trent Brown was put on the COVID-19 reserve list. The NFL said in its Thursday afternoon statement that it expects that game to be played on Sunday, but schedule change ensures that NBC has a game for Sunday night. That expectation may be more like a hope. Per reports, an entire Raiders offensive line and safety Jonathan Abram have all gone on the COVID-19 list and must quarantine through at least Saturday. I mean, that's not even close to long enough. 2 weeks. The guidelines say a minimum of 2 weeks. Whatever, dude. I mean, like I said, clearly they don't care at all. Let's see. Anyway, NBC is likely disappointed that it won't be showing Tom Brady for the first time as a member of the Buccaneers. That would have probably been a huge ratings draw alongside Game 5 of the World Series, but simply having a game is a bigger priority. NBC would have been left without a game had the NFL been forced to postpone the Bucs-Raiders game on Friday or Saturday because the Raiders didn't have enough players available. Okay, real quick, pause there, because that is an admittance, right? I mean, just by this writer from Yahoo Sports, but this is how it works, right? So they said that they're disappointed because they won't be able to have Tom Brady, and that would be a huge ratings draw. But not having a game at all would mean that they don't get any ratings, and that is absolutely unacceptable to them. They have to be able to get ratings. They have to be able to have commercials and, draw in money and stuff like that. They got to have the revenue. So, the point is it's an admission that all they care about is, ratings and so on and so forth. But in this case, they're forced to actually do something because, as he mentioned there at the end of it, NBC would have been left without a game had the NFL been forced to postpone the Bucs-Raiders game on Friday or Saturday because the Raiders didn't have enough players available. But look at that, right? So instead of actually postponing the game and making NBC lose, a Sunday night game, instead of doing that, they're going to allow them to play. They just changed the time on the day, right? So instead of being the last game of the night, it's going to be, the one right before that, right? So, which is nowhere near long enough for these guys to actually do the proper quarantine process. It's Thursday. I don't know, if people realize, but that's, 3 days away? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? We're 3 days away from that. I mean, it's a clown show. Anyway. And hey, maybe having the 5-0 Seahawks for the third time this season will give NBC another thriller. The Seahawks' 2 Sunday night games so far this season have been 2 of the best games of the season. Seattle beat New England 35-30 in Week 2 after stopping Cam Newton at the goal line as time expired. In Week 5, the Seahawks came back to beat the Minnesota Vikings 27-26 when DK Metcalf caught a TD from Russell Wilson with 15 seconds left. The game will also be the first Sunday night game for the Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, the number 1 pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. has thrown for 1,487 yards, 10 touchdowns so far in 2020, and has also rushed for 370 yards, 6 scores. The Cardinals 4-2 demolished the Dallas Cowboys 38-10 on Monday Night Football. Okay, so yeah, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's totally absurd, man. Like, the Raiders' entire offensive line, like, and that's the thing, right? They're actually playing sooner now, right, than they were, right? So they have technically even less time to prepare and get their guys ready. Granted, it's, you know, the difference of a few hours, but I mean, it's just, like, what do you say, dude? Like, what do you say about this? So now they're playing earlier, right? So, well, I guess it's in that 1 o'clock slate, right? So they're going to be playing, the Buccaneers are now, instead of playing, let's see, where is it? So instead of playing the 8:20 game, that's Eastern, right? 5:20 p.m. Pacific time for me. So instead of the Bucks and Raiders playing that game, they actually moved the game up to 1:05 p.m. That's Pacific time, 4:05 p.m. Eastern time. So their answer, okay, think about this. The entire offensive line for the Raiders and one of their safeties has gone on the COVID list. Now, my guess is that these guys didn't test positive. They just came into contact with somebody who did, right? Now, just simply because they haven't tested positive doesn't mean that they don't have it, right? So it just could be a delayed positive test that they'll get, right? Anyway, whatever. So, we get all that. But anyway, so their answer though, and the guidelines say that 2 weeks is the minimum amount of time, because that is the incubation period, somewhere between 3 days to 3 to 14 days, right? 3 days to 2 weeks. It just depends. Everybody's different, so on and so forth, right? And then, you know, obviously a lot of people are asymptomatic and never know they have it, blah, 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 whatever. So their entire offensive line and a safety goes on this list for coming into contact with somebody, potentially could have it themselves, okay? And they're supposed to play in 3 days. 3 days. So obviously far short. I mean, that's the low end. That's the bottom of the range, right? For incubation period. 3 to 14 days. They play in 3 days. And the NFL's solution is, we're not going to postpone the game. We're actually going to make them play sooner. It's only by a few hours, but we're going to make them play sooner. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how does anybody look at that and be like, yeah, dude, they're doing everything right? I mean, let alone everything else, right? Let alone everything else, from the way that they, have just constantly tried to fuck over, players and coaches through punishment and taking their money, whether it be, fining them for not having their face masks during the season, or how they tried to hold player, salaries in escrow and shit, right? Like, I mean, it's clear as day. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the staffs. They don't care about the players, the coaching staffs or the players. They don't care at all. All they care about is having their fucking money come in. That's it. So what they should do, I mean, look, and if they postponed it, they would likely postpone it to like Monday or Tuesday. So it would really only be a couple days. But that's better than fucking moving it up. Like, it's absurd. Anyway, that's what I got. That's the update. Look, man, I mean, I've accepted the fact, real quick before I bounce, I've accepted the fact that, people just the way that the world is nowadays, you know, especially in America, people are so divided, have their own opinions, and particularly in America are super selfish and only can think through their own perspective, right? We don't teach people to have empathy or sympathy. We don't teach people to be critical thinkers and just follow what, you know, we're told by our leaders and fucking blah, blah, blah. And so, you know, look, man, even people, you know, like on the left, they can't come together because, you know, of various reasons. They, you know, they're quick to cancel, or they're too emotional, or, you know, they think their opinions are better than everybody else's. Like, you know, and it's one thing if the opinion is not an opinion, but rooted in fact, right? Like if your opinion happens to be something that is fact, like, for example, my opinion is 2 + 2 = 4. The thing about that is that it's not just an opinion, right? It's a fact, right? So somebody could say 2 + 3 = 4, and that could be their opinion. They could believe it very strongly, but it's not a fact, right? It's an invalid opinion. Climate change, it's a thing. If you don't believe it, that's your opinion, but you're wrong, right? So it also depends. But we don't teach people to have opinions based in facts, right? We have so many people in this world that like to live in their own bubbles because it's more comfortable, because they're scared of change, whatever. Anyway, you get it. Not gonna go off on too much. I'm gonna get up out of here. Look, the point of that just simply is, it's not gonna get any better. And unfortunately, because look, you know, I said this a little bit ago, the NFL and the owners clearly care about only one thing: making sure business goes on as normal, and they can make as much money as possible, right? They're already expected to lose a ton. They're going to lower the salary cap next year, which hurts the players and the teams, not mostly the players, right? It doesn't hurt the NFL. In fact, they save money, right? So anyway, like, you know, all they care about is the money, and there are too many people in this world that are, you know, either just straight out fucking morons, you know, which tend to be mostly the, you know, the right wing in this country, who just literally will believe in the most ridiculous conspiracy theories and believe that, you know, COVID's a hoax, and those people happily go to games. But then, you know, you have tons of people in this country, liberals, who, you know, are convinced that, like, Joe Biden's the good guy, and that, you know, if they just wear their mask, everything's going to be okay, right? Not taking into account that there's other people. And how many times has the camera panned to the crowds and there been people without masks on? Every game I've watched, multiple times in the game, they have panned to the crowd and there are people without masks on. So, you know, you can't control it. And it's been clear. They've had outbreak after outbreak, right? They're not stopping it. Nothing they've done, right? These, you know, harsh penalties that they've imposed on teams and so on and so forth. None of it's worked because it can't work. So, you know, it's destined to get worse because, you know, whatever. Anyway, so it is what it is, and I've accepted that. And I just gotta, you know, for me, I just do the absolute best I can. For the vast majority of in my life, I've accepted that I'm not, like, I can't convince people even, right? And honestly, you know, the personal issues I had recently, you know, that kind of spilled into my videos, it's mostly, you know, my own personal life, but it's also partly because, like, you know, it's so exhausting and frustrating to constantly try and fucking convince people of, you know, reality or the harm that's coming or the devastating things that can happen, and then just get treated like shit, you know, because you're trying to help people and stop people from having to suffer. And people are like, no, you're just too negative, and I don't like you, and I'm not going to listen to you, and I don't believe you. And they just stay in their own little happy bubbles until tragedy hits, and then they suffer. And, well, you know, what are you gonna do? So, you know, I'm trying super hard to, like, not stress myself out over trying to, you know, fix other people and help other people anymore, because it's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And, you know, so that was part of the reason why I thought, you know, I was gonna, you know, potentially stop doing, you know, these videos in my channel and stuff. But I do feel like ultimately I do feel like I have a bit of a responsibility, but also it is a good way for me to kind of vent a little bit as well, while generally speaking not having to deal with, you know, people shitting on me for just trying to be honest and helpful, right? You know, I mean, I get it sometimes in comments or whatever, but you know, that doesn't usually affect me. When it comes to my channel, it's that stuff's not usually what affects me. It's my life away from all of this that really usually weighs me down. But anyway, whatever, you get it all. Yeah, so I'm gonna get up out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. See y'all soon. Phins up.